was over. No Kevin Durant again. But the Rockets stay alive. 3-1, a 115-96 victory. Thompson with 23. Tari Eason had 20. DeAndre Ayton finishes with 19 and 10. They shot 40% from three, Houston did. The Game 3 loss wasn't pretty. Ime Udoka asked about the messaging that he gave these guys afterwards. Said, quote, grow up. You're not that young anymore. And then Amen said Alperen Sengun gave the motivational speech yesterday morning before the game. I would love to know that. I would love to know what he said.
Well, I think it's do or die now for them, obviously, and you do not want to get embarrassed. You do not want to get swept. And this is a team that arguably has more talent than the LA Lakers. And again, they're missing Kevin Durant, but you look across the way, they're missing their best two players, arguably. So, like, it is an even playing field. And I will say the X factors, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, DeAndre Ayton, those guys that we kind of have been easily criticized all year long, they've really stepped up. And the Lakers' turnaround on defense has been fantastic. Like, they're flying around, they're playing with more energy. They can go small, they can go big, they get up and pressure you. You know, JJ Redick has done beautiful job with like different schemes, different coverages, switching pick and rolls, going under one action, doubling the next action, like keeping it very, unpredictable for the offense. And whether it's double teaming Kevin Durant at half court or going to zone, like they've done a little bit of everything, which has been key for them. And I do feel like this was the one game they could let get away. This is the one game that
feels rigged to me. Feels rigged to me,
not excusing the loss, but I feel like if I was a betting man, I would have bet on the Rockets last night.
Really?
This is the one that like you can kind of look ahead and you can go, let's close it out at home or get a cushion.
They're not going to let them get swept.
But again, on the flip side, though, they need to win Game 5 because then they start playing every other night, and LeBron James did look a little tired and a little fatigued last night.
Sure.
But this is a big pride win for the Rockets last night, especially without Kevin Durant, and a collective effort for them.
Yeah, I thought the Lakers were just complacent and they laid an egg. This is a team that's having a 3-0 lead, and you're looking at this Game 4, and they just didn't put their best foot forward in knowing that they were going back home, for a pivotal Game 5. I thought Marcus Smart, who's been brilliant during this series, Luke Kennard, who's been brilliant during this series, they just didn't have that impact that they've had in the previous games. They're going to need those guys to step up and be big contributors moving forward in this series, especially if they don't want this thing to get interesting and they want to just close it out at home and make this a gentleman's sweep and finish 4-1. But for me, it was about those two guys. It wasn't about LeBron to me last night. LeBron is going to be LeBron. We can say that he was tired or whatever, but when it comes to Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, those have been the guys that's pushed this team forward, that's gotten them over the hump in those games. They didn't make a three between the two of them collectively. That has to change, and they got to have a bigger impact for them to close it out at home.
Yeah.
By the way, the LeBron part of it, the beauty and the curse of LeBron and how long he's played and his age and all that is that when he does amazing things, we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? But then if he has an off night like he did, they're like, uh-oh. Age is catching up to him. Just one game.
Yeah. I think you got to look at the big picture of the playoffs and how dominant he's been and how great he's looked. And I will say he's taken some spills. They're playing physical with him. But the only thing that concerns me a little bit is the lack of rest that he will get as this series goes on. So I think it's pivotal that they win Game 5 because, again, then we're talking just one day in between Game 6 and Game 7. But, again, this is LeBron James. He completely proves people wrong. Each and every game, each and every day, he's been great. I'd like to think that if they do happen to lose Game 5, Austin Reeves will probably come back Game 6 and for a little boost there. Hopefully, because I don't think they're going to want to let this get too far and, again, go to Game 6 or 7. But they've been the better team all series long. Kevin Durant's, I think, officially out, right?
Dude, what is the deal with Kevin Durant? Why was he not even on the bench for Game 3? Talk to me about this. It feels bad.
Well, what's weird to me is when they asked about his teammates, and his teammates say they don't know. That was the only concerning part for me is when, Amen Thompson was like, I don't know. I don't know if they're not trying to make it a big deal or what, but
there's a disconnect, maybe?
A little disconnect there.
It can be a lot at play here. I've seen it all. I've seen some guys just flat out not show up. I've seen some guys that prefer to sit in the locker room and watch games, and I've also experienced, personally myself, where you're doing treatment in the back during the games because you don't want to waste that time. You're steady working, around the clock trying to get back on the court. I don't know what the scenario is for Kevin Durant, but usually in these scenarios, you see a guy pop his head out at least a quarter or whatever and then go back to the back and complete treatment or whatever you have. I don't know what it is, it also was interesting that his teammates didn't know what was going on and nobody kind of stuck up for him. But at the end of the day, he wasn't on the court. It didn't matter. He had nothing to do with the outcome of this game, you know, so we can make it a big deal, but this is the playoffs and everything matters. And like I said, everything is under a microscope. But, you know, I've seen every scenario under the sun when it comes to this type of stuff.
I'll say this. It makes more sense in like a game 5 situation that he wouldn't travel with the team because he's back in Houston rehabbing, getting stuff, and like he might blow up and might swell on the flight. Being at home,
he was on the bench
game
for
3
game
or 4.
4.
He was there last night.
Because I think he wants to come to LA and be on the bench for game 5.
I'm just saying it would make more sense to me if he didn't travel with the team for game 5 in preparation to play for game 6 and not have anything happen on the flight. But
I wouldn't even be surprised if he's in that back gym getting shots.
Right,
Like,
and 100%. There's a trainer dedicated to Kevin Durant where he could be just doing rehab, constant Normatec, ice, stim, massage. Like he could be doing stuff during the game, trying so hard to be getting ready to play for the next game, and we're over here asking why he's on the bench. Like, so I will say there's a lot of other scenarios.
So that's why we're doing that.
We've seen it all, Beats. Like I've played in games where I've been part of games where I'm hurt, where at the top of the second quarter, during game days, a lot of the medical staff is dedicated to the guys that are active and in uniform. So even as a Kevin Durant, you might not have the time to get on the training table to do the things you need. You might not have that dedicated energy or a trainer that you need. But once the game starts, one of those guys might come with you, and that's where you start your treatment, and that's where you start your work. Now that you have the guys that are active out on the floor, and they don't need that time and that energy. I've seen it all. I'm going to guess that's what was going on. But again, it was kind of different for his teammates to say, I don't know where he is, you know.
Didn't love that. Not a great look.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton, by the way, was ejected in the second half because of a flagrant 2 hit on Sengun. I will say this for context before I ask you if this was not the right call.
Oh, my gosh. What is that?
Udoka said that he was surprised by this and said it was soft. So do you agree with this call?
I mean, when you look at it like that, it does look a little tough, but like ejecting him in the playoffs, I don't think this was on purpose. I don't think this was like malicious. Again, when you slow it down like that, even Sengun, I think, says he was surprised, right? Like he
No, Ime said.
Again, it's sure when you slow it down and you replay it like that in 4K, it might look worse than it is. I don't think this is. I think flagrant 1, sure, you hit him in the head, it was unnecessary, but to kick the guy at the leading scorer of the other team out.
You know what? As a cynical person and sometimes conspiracy theorist, this doesn't look good for the people who think that some things are scripted.
This is where the replay thing gets tricky for me. You know, I told you we're going to open up a can of worms if we just run over there and replay everything in microseconds and stretching out clips and slow motion. Like in real time, this looked like a normal foul or play on. But the minute that you go over to the replay, and then the crowd can be able to react, and you can slow it down, and everybody makes it like that looks crazy based on the slow motion, right? But if we speed this thing up and we see it in real time, everybody is playing on, and it's nothing. That's why I don't want the replay to have more of an impact that it already has in these games, man. I hate it. This is weak to me.
If I get hit in the back of the head, why am I grabbing the front of my face?
I don't know. I just think, again,
ask yourself
we
that.
can't keep
Transferable
pumping up
energy.
Acting.
We
It
can't
was
keep
horrible.
pumping up playoff basketball and physicality, and then when it does happen to come to fruition, do we suspend and then we kick the guy out?
Kicking him out is absurd. They owe him an apology, if you ask me. By the way, the KD waving. Are we good with that?
Oh,
hilarious.
Just know, I mean, I'm petty. When I'm next game, as soon as this game's over, if I'm DeAndre Ayton, I am looking for Kevin Durant, and I am waving bye-bye because I will not forget. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
It is shocking to wave when you know the next game might probably be the team's last,
3.
and like you're probably going to be going on. But whatever.
Which series is more alive, or which is a more likely chance? The Nuggets coming back,
not this one. How about that?
Not this one.
Not this one.
You think this one's a wrap?
I do think it's a wrap. I think they just weren't allowed to be swept, is what I think. We're going to take a quick break. More.
Boy.
What, guys? I got my tinfoil hat on all weekend. We'll be right back.